most unhinged women of Bravo. Like,
yeah, I think that's very possible.
she's definitely up there. Like, just right off the bat, just bonkers.
Yeah.
And I feel like the first few she like kind of tiptoes around is like, oh Thomas, like I want to be friends with everyone, and like, do I look okay to
Yeah.
meet your friends, and la la. And
Yeah.
then she just goes like scorched earth, and
Yeah.
you're nothing but an egg donor to Kathryn, the mother of Thomas's children.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think it's worth pointing out that like Thomas is very much like the common denominator in all of these women. And especially all of these women that we kind of like deem crazy. Like, so I do think that there was something happening like behind the scenes where he was kind of like, pitting them against each other, like, spinning the narrative with one another and kind of like maybe creating some of this chaos.
For sure. And for most of the women, I would agree. But I think like Ashley, like the way she spoke to Kathryn is like,
oh yeah,
it's like not like you can't defend that in any way, shape, or form. Like to tell someone's mother that they're nothing but an egg donor, like what in the world?
Yes, I know. It's definitely a special level that she was able to attain. I don't think most people are able to get there in their day-to-day.
No.
So yeah, Ashley is definitely very interesting. And I think it's actually interesting that you kind of like bring this up because our first meeting of Ashley is like quite unique. What they do is they kind of the season begins, season 5, episode 1, with a kind of flash forward, I suppose, to the end of the season, very last episode of the season. Thomas, Kathryn, and Ashley are outside of the kind of like party that Patricia is throwing. And basically this is the fight where the egg donor comment is made, and Ashley, that's like our like as an audience, that's our first impression of her.
That's true.
Then and it's just genius because then they like flash back to like 3 months earlier or whatever, and then we like meet Ashley and she seems normal. She's a nurse, she like met Thomas like at like a club or like or something, and they've kind of like started off their like little romance. She's moved from California to kind of be with him in Charleston
after like no time.
After absolutely no time, already kind of like bringing up some comments about like marriage and whatnot. But she very much kind of like gets ready to go to Shep's barbecue and to like meet the whole cast. Like they're the first like cast ensemble event. And yeah, as you say, she wants to like appear nice. She wants to like come off well for the group of friends. And I think she also kind of like hits home that she like really wants to like try to be like the bigger person with Kathryn. She wants to make sure that she's giving a first good impression, like all that stuff. And so it's just like so interesting that we've already kind of like seen like this like little sneak preview of like, this is Ashley at the end of the season, this is her at the beginning, like what's gonna happen to kind of have that really like go from such a like polar opposites, right?
But it happens really quickly. Like it's not like a gradual thing. You could tell that I just watched these episodes of season 5 because my memory is so much more vivid than a lot of other things. But like it's when they go on a cast trip, which is not that far into the season. And I think
it's like season episode like 6 or something. It's like
she realizes that like the women are not going to be on her side, and she just goes like scorched earth, like I see your kids more than you do, like where were you when like they were hurt, like this happened, you didn't even come to, like she just like is just attacking Kathryn, and like Kathryn just sits there and takes it like actually really stoically, and like all the girls are there behind her, but it's just like what's happening here? And then of course Thomas, the spineless man that he is, just kind of like hides
in the background. It's so true. Well, and it's interesting that so like for those of you who don't know, like this is the cast trip where they go to like Hilton Head. It's where like Shep and Chelsea are both from, so like it's supposed to be kind of like just like a fun chill, like it's like a vacation destination, like it's supposed to be very like an easy time for the whole group, but it's very much the opposite of that. And it starts off like right off the bat like very strange with just kind of like the Ashley and Thomas dynamics, because Ashley has decided that she's very offended about the fact that it's Saint's 2nd birthday and Kathryn is in charge of the guest list, and Kathryn is not going to invite Ashley to the birthday party.
Oh yes,
and
that's
like
what set her off.
That right, and it's like that's the catalyst for like this big fight, and it really is like I would almost say that this fight between Ashley and Kathryn and like kind of like the whole group is so much worse than the egg donor comment, because I just feel like it gets to like such a heated level. And I thought it was interesting that before you said that Whitney was trying to kind of like broker the peace between Landon and Kathryn, because again, here we are a season later, and Whitney again is trying to be like, Thomas, get in on this, like try to be a little bit of a like a mediator in this situation, because clearly like shit is going down. And Thomas does not do that.
No, he's like, oh, you know, like if I were to like say anything, like I don't want to disrespect Ashley, and it's like, so you're just gonna let her say horrible things about the mother of your children? Like,
yeah, let her completely go off and like seem like the worst person literally ever to exist on the planet of Earth. Well,
so bad.
Okay, maybe not that bad, but still. Yeah, it was definitely, so that was kind of an interesting part about going back and like watching all these like old episodes and stuff, is it's hard to find good moments for Ashley, really. Unfortunately,
maybe like the first one that she was introduced in.
Yeah, you know, like the like, cute little pair of shorts that she's wearing and like her little outfit, like yeah, that's a good moment. I did, so
it's good for her, it's creepy for Thomas, who's just like, yeah, show your legs.
Yeah, it is weird. That's true. There is a scene when she and Patricia, and I think it's interesting, I brought this up before for Kathryn, but where she and Patricia go shopping at Gwen's. Again, interesting kind of parallel to what happens in season 6.
Doesn't
and
Kathryn
they go
end up working there?
Well, that's just it. So in season 5, Kathryn is working at Gwen's and they go shopping there. So Kathryn like specifically is like, well, I'm not going that day. And yes, like they pick out like a few little outfits. I think that was kind of like an interesting scene. And that was kind of like a nice moment that we had with Ashley. You know, Patricia tries to like impart some knowledge about like dating and marriage, and while the advice is probably a little bit old school for now, or for like kind of like how we see like the dynamics between like men and women in our current day and age, it's still like at its core, you know, it's about having a life and having friends and having a job, and like, you know, tipping the scales of kind of like not being too available in your relationship, so that like the man will probably like want you a little bit more. And she's trying to like impart some wisdom. She has been married 3 times, quite successfully it seems. So, you know, maybe it was she was just trying to do her best, and she tried to do the exact same thing with Landon. So, you know, Miss Pat just wants people to like, you know, go and live their best life
with rich men.
Well, yeah, exactly, in a very specific bracket of what that life should look like.